Let's go.
Wednesday afternoon.
Too much money for the players that he's got at the moment, because even Rashford is having problem there. They don't want to keep him. Aston Villa, where he's gone, because of this same problem. They demanding too much money. So I think that was what happened in the January transfer window. He wasn't ready to let go for the asking price, which would be the market price. Well, you don't want these players, offload them, but he's trying to balance the books with these players, which is not going to happen. It's either you want to win the games, get good players, which would come. You got to sacrifice something. Something's got to give, and he's not ready for that. He's not ready for that. He's wanting to make a lot of money. He's not wanting to lose money, basically, because obviously the financial problems that is talking about, and so that's going to pose a real problem, because there will be other playmakers in the game that would want to pay much more for these players, and they're not just going to want to come to Manchester United because it's Manchester United. We're going to go to Manchester United and not go after the big money. I mean, if it was possible for these players, they'd be in Saudi. But for one thing, they're not really going now because they think, well, you know what, I'm just going to play out and get a lot of sponsorship or whatever. But take that away, they're off. Because the main reason why they started playing football anyway in the first place, all right, so the love of the game, but that's rubbish. It's about the money. They go where the big money is. Otherwise, they'd be playing Division 3. They'd be playing, League One and all that, because it's the love of the game. But because of the money, they go for these bigger clubs. They want to go to Real Madrid. They want to go to Barcelona. Obviously, they want to go to Liverpool, and so he's not ready yet to, he's in denial at the moment. He's in serious denial, and that's the biggest problem you can have. So he's trying to claw back any money that he can get from every avenue. And look at what he's doing with the fans now. You don't do that with the fans, not mid-season anyway. You don't just start raising ticket prices just because you can. You've got to think about the fans. You want them to be behind you whilst you're going through these financial difficulties. You don't want to use them as a stepping stone to get to solving your money worries anyway. So that is the main problem that Manchester, and I know Amorim, he sees it already. Amorim sees it already, because he's saying, I want this, I want that. They're saying, well, do we what you've got. So that is the problem that I see with Manchester United. It's all about the money.
Do you not see them buying players in the summer then? Have they not got the money to invest in new players?
Like you said, I see them buying players in the summer, but I see them buying or spending on a mediocre level. So they're not going to go big. They're just going to stay, because he still believes that what he's got there, I'm not going to let go of these players if I'm not going to get back the money that I put into them. And they're not worth that money anymore. None of them is worth that. But he still wants.
No, they're not.
Safeno and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday. So join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom, Dr. Glad.
I put into them, and they're not worth that money anymore. None of them is worth that. But he still wants.
No, they're not.
They're not worth that. Casemiro, He's not worth that much. ZZ, Christensen is, is knocking on in age now, so he is not gonna get that much money from it. So he's left with a real problem, Sir Ratcliffe. He's left with a really big problem.
When you say Christensen, did you mean Ericsson?
Ericsson,
or Christian?
sorry,
Ericsson, yeah.
Ericsson, yeah.
Yes, he's getting older now, isn't he? But also players like Sancho, who they paid, I got an idea they paid about £83 million for Sancho. Now, I don't even know if he's still on their books and he's out on loan, but they would never recoup that as if they sell him, because I don't think he did. I think he's obviously a better player than he seemed to be at Manchester United, but he didn't really perform there. So that amount, if they paid that for him, seems exorbitant, really, £83 million. And I'm not sure what you value him in today's market, but maybe half that. So that's going to be a problem for them. And also these players they've taken on, who are now on loan, they've taken on with huge wage contracts, huge money. And of course other clubs, they might say, well, we like the player, but we can't afford to pay those wages. And of course a player very often, having got used to that level of income, won't want to reduce it that much. So there's kind of an issue about when players join clubs, they offer, I mean, Chelsea did this going back a year or two. They were offering young players massive pay contracts, 150,000 a week or whatever, and doing them for like 8 years. So of course, as time has gone on, they've had to offload some of those people a lot more cheaply than they would have wanted, because they were overcommitted on wage contracts. So again, there's not an awful lot of intelligence going on, where maybe some new owners don't fully understand the market and the game in the Premier League. But who knows? I mean, I'm sure most of these money people, owners, they know their stuff and that they do what they got to do. But it's a game way out of reach of anything the man in the street really knows about or understands. We can only comment from afar, can't we, without knowing all the facts, really.
Absolutely. I think that's a real point that you've pointed out there. New owners, just wanting to, make their presence known. So, if you come in, there's always a prize for everything that you do, and there's always a sacrifice for everything, every knowledge that you don't have.
Safeno and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday. So join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom.